word mental, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Origin still have War to play up against and Team RB next week. We are going to get in pick and ban. So Origin versus War actually might be the decider for that 4th playoff spot between the two teams, assuming PSG don't start to win a lot of games, which is not to be expected, in my opinion. Origin on the blue side, Giants on the red. LeBlanc ban from OG, Zach from Giants. No real surprises thus far in the pick and ban phase.
I think you definitely get rid of Jizuki's LeBlanc there, just because super oppressive against Scala, and you know his Achilles heel now, which is not control mages, but late game scaling mages. Speaking of late game scaling, Kassadin's going to be taken off the table there.
Scala's
so
not going to get his hands on that.
Origin are just going full, I don't want to play that against that comp last game. No.
So Origin are maybe looking to get Darkside the Caitlyn here if it isn't banned by Giants.
But you've got the Thresh as well. Like, I think you just run like Thresh, Ashe into Darkside's Caitlyn, you probably still win that lane.
Yeah, maybe give Quickseth over that Thresh, which would be good for him. But the problem is that Mini will play Caitlyn if it is available. So Giants have performed so well on that. They're going to ban the Rek'Sai here to make sure that they at least get one of those picks. There we go, Caitlyn for locked in, take it away from Mini, but it's just going to give Ju? Has someone?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out if that's a sub for Giants. I'm just going to ask production to check.
Yeah, I was working out in my head. There seems to be a substitute. I was going to say Jack get his hands on the Thresh, but no, I mean, there you go. They made that ban to make sure that they could at least got one of those 2 picks for the bot lane, and they are going to take away Caitlyn from Mini True Packs.
Yeah, you don't give him that. Thresh, obvious lock-in, I think. Unless you guys want to think about any other first lock-in.
No,
I think Thresh, in all
Galio
honesty,
is still there as well. We didn't see in game 1.
Galio.
But yeah, I don't think you need to lock in.
I don't think you lock in Galio at all for Giants. I mean, Ruin, yes, can play. I think you Jizuki, just stick him on a really high-intensity mid laner. Something like an Ahri or something that can just solo carry from the mid and then go from there. Gilius, perfect pick on the Gragas again. He did fantastic in game number 1. Why change in game number 2?
Gragas with the flex as well, obviously can be played by Ruin in that top lane. I agree with you on the Galio. I think picking it early, especially when Dan can get a counter pick, is very dangerous for you. You don't want Jizuki on it. He's played so well.
It's really important that you put Jizuki on something that's very impactful in terms of damage output and carry potential. And we know that Galio can have that kind of impact. We've seen the flash taunts that he achieved in the previous series, but it's not exactly like a huge damage threat carry. Breakcan. First time we're going to see him locked in here. Quickseth going to get his hands on that, and
oh, is that an AD carry? It's an AD carry.
That's Dan on top. Man. Dan on top side Kennen this time round.
Yes, makes a lot of sense. Ju is a sub for Giants. I don't know a huge amount about him. I will make sure I do my research in a short break that we do have. It is going to be Kennen, the Rakan as well. Caitlyn Rakan, a very easy lane to play, very safe. And now Giants looking towards their AD carry probably. Have seen a lot more Jhin. Has been changed on 7.13, I believe. It might have been 7.12. I think it was 7.13.
I believe it was 7.13. No, there was some changes to 7.12.
I think the Q got buffed, if I remember properly.
The Q base damage went down and the AD scaling went up. This ultimate base damage went up, so it's more impactful when you hit the first, second shot, kind of thing.
So yeah, Jhin was buffed, we can say, on 7.12, so it makes sense.
More AD you stack, you know this grenade's going to hit later on. Cassiopeia is the ban here away from Scala. Again, you just focus out this mid pool, and then what does he play?
Do you ban Jarvan for Origin though, Jaws, before we move on? Because obviously Dan now in the top lane as Kennen, and Jarvan can have a good synergy with Gragas to try and put pressure on him early on.
If you do, you just pick Galio, in all honesty. You want Ruin on a team fighting top lane, or at least someone that can duel with a...
Doesn't Galio get destroyed by Kennen, though?
Because you just push him out of lane. Like, you just don't fight him.
Yeah, absolutely. Oriana is actually going to be the last ban here. Wow. I would have actually more... They're forcing him on Vladimir here is all I can kind of think about. Again, it's... Giants have the counter pick at this point, so you can blind pick all you want Origin, because Jizuki, we know we're going to have a more favourable matchup in that regard.
Corki's still available, by the way. We haven't seen that yet prioritised by either team thus far, but has seen some play during today in the Challenger Series.
Not anymore.
So
not anymore, Famalam.
Massive limitation on the mid lane champion pool here. I mean, what is left available for these guys at this point?
It does get to a point where you say, do Giants actually want to pick mid lane first if they can think of something safe? I'm just trying to rack my brains for something safe, but they decide against it. It's going to be the Jarvan, as you said. Could have been banned out, picked instead into this Kennen. Now you've got jungle and mid lane for Origin.
It's a simple pick if you think that you are going to get some sort of mid lane counter pick here. Again, there are still things that are a little bit out of left field that you could pick for mid lane in a counter situation. Victor, one of the final mid laners that are really left in sort of the tier list at this point in time.
Well, Vladimir was there as well, but I don't think he wants to play Vladimir again. Victor has a much earlier power spike than Vladimir anyway, just in terms of the Hex Core. And as soon as you get that online, really, you can just sit there and wave clear, which is one of the things Jizuki had over him, was the ability to wave clear, enabling him to roam Gilius and the plays he was making. Wow, Olaf actually locked in here for Zani. So again, straying away from these more supportive roles that we've seen him on. Honestly, I'd have loved to see him on an Ivan.
Yeah, he just got nerfed, right, in 7-12.
True. But if you look at the composition that Origin are drafting here, Caitlyn, Rakan, and then you've got Dan in the top lane, who's not really going to be influencing the team fights. What peel do you have there? I think Ivan would have been a good job, but Olaf running at people, you know, that's going to help too in some regard.
Jizuki on the Echo here, you imagine.
Yeah, we saw him play it week 1, I want to say.
Yeah, so he's going to have, again, high impact mid laner, good at sort of putting pressure on, high mobility to get around Victor's gravity field.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because that is a horrible matchup for Victor.
Yeah,
in all honesty.
I look at that Giants lineup and I say level 6.
Oh no!
No way do I ever want to face against that at level 6. We've already seen Ruin roam there once. Dan can still split push, but you've got double TP from Giants. They're going to do the same thing they did last game, and I'm not sure this Origin lineup actually matches up well into it. I think you just get harassed down from range.
I think Giants just have a fantastic draft sense. Yeah. Their coach behind them, I think, has got a fantastic set of head. He's got a fantastic head on him. You know, the drafting. The drafting is
his mental is very strong.
No, I do think their draft is very, very good. And getting Ruin on that J4 again. But like I said, if you ban the J4, he just picks Galio in that regard. Like, it's very hard for them to coordinate around it. And I do think saving that last pick as well for Jizuki was really clever, because what you force Scarlet then on Vladimir, he's not going to play that again. Victor, Echo, horrible matchup for him.
What do you think Origin have to do to win here with this composition, though? I mean,
get to late game, like get to 25 minutes, have the Olaf run in, have the Rakan there as well with the quickness. Like, if you can lock up the backline in a fight and have Caitlyn get 2 or 3 seconds of free auto attacks, it works.
Just spooking the page.
I'm just glad we've got some wind coming across the very warm up here.
So one thing they can do, and it will rely heavily on Victor, but Victor's damage is going to be hindered in the process, is him getting a Rylai's second item. Rylai's is a good second item on him before it got changed, but you're going to have some way to disengage from the Giants all-in kind of, you know, look at their composition already, you've got Ruin, etc. Get that Rylai's first, been able to just make sure Mini Trupax is actually safe. Not Mini Trupax, God's sake. The dark side is safe on the Caitlyn. I'm thinking Caitlyn, Mini Trupax, Caitlyn, Mini Trupax. But no,
same person.
Yeah, almost. So make sure dark side is safe in that regard. Pay more utility, Victor, and then get the damage later on. It does hinder his damage a little bit, because normally he wants to go Lichbane for the straight up dueling potential. But I think that's what they're going to have to play around. Dark side being a more overly aggressive in mid. Yeah, dark side being overly aggressive in bot lane, and then just win the lanes, win the game, hopefully.
I agree with Medic. Get Caitlyn to 4 items.
Exactly.
And then
they're not going to do it though.
Nah,
like against this Giants roster, trying to get someone to 4 items against this is just hell. Hell on earth. You've got the dive from the Echo. You've got the Jhin with the Curtain Core, you've got the Thresh Hooks, you've got the Gragas Engage. Giants have already shown us they're not afraid of pulling a trigger, and there are so many different triggers they can pull in this matchup.
And one of those massive triggers will be Quickseth. I want to see if he can influence the mid stage of the game. We've seen Rakan already taken to new highs, I think you could say, with Kasing playing it. His ability to roam is also really important, and with Caitlyn being one of the more safer AD carries to play up against a Jhin Thresh if you're shoved underneath the turret, because of your trap line is very important. So Quickseth makes some early proactive maneuvers around Zani and around Scarlet, and then leave Dan to kind of split push.
Would make a lot of sense. Giants looking to repeat their performance from game 1. A perfect game for them. A very imperfect game from OG. And OG needs to start winning again. They cannot do a PSG and fall down further and further along the table. At the moment they are sitting behind RB and slightly ahead of War, because War have drawn 2 games. Do have a pause. Sure, we'll get this sorted out as soon as possible. So OG have 3 points at the moment. If they lose today, they can get a possible 6 points in the future. But they have some tough opponents to play up against. They've got Team RB, they've got Schalke 04. I believe they haven't played them yet.
And that's going to be the true test for Giants, I think, if they can keep this perfect record going. But coming up against maybe some of the weaker oppositions early isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you land yourself in a spot where you haven't got a single loss yet. And that's extremely good for them. Zani, one thing about this Olaf that I want to quickly touch on that I couldn't allude to in Champion Select was he's going to go very low in his jungle, because that's how Olaf works in the jungle. You want to go low so your attack speed increases so you can clear your jungle quicker. Gilius isn't going to do that. Gilius isn't going to go low because he's a tanky, fat man, Gragas. Like, he has no real worry of Zani going for some crazy invade early, because he knows Zani's going to get fairly low. Nice knock up here on
Jumping like quick
True
they'll just turn straight back around onto Darkside. The Flay comes in from Dew and forces Darkside back. Mini Trupax has the Dorman shield as well, so we'll be able to heal himself up. Scarlet and Jizuki trading in mid.
That's the big thing about the Jhin change as well. With that grenade, you do less damage early, but more damage late because of the AD scaling on it. However, regardless, forget that. Like, you saw the amount of damage he was able to put down the dark side. Exactly. Churns up his fourth shot, bang, headshot, and it's very easy for him to just play very aggressively. You play a lot of Rakan as soon as you go in, unless you've got a spare battle dance to get out, which is normally what you do have. It's you become very vulnerable. You're not a tanky Braum. You're not a tanky Thresh who's going to be building a lot of defensive items early. You've got Spell Thieves, so therefore you're as big as a target as Thingy.
Oh, engage mid lane onto Scarlet. That's the kill from Jizuki and Gilius. Zani is here, trying to ghost his way in. Jizuki still has flash though. He's just waiting for Zani to get off towards the wrong side, and Jizuki gets away. Does have to burn his flash.
Oh, that's so punishing for Victor. You want to go back with 2,550 gold, ideally, to get the first upgrade in the Hex Core, and
Dark
now he's
Seal.
picking up the Dark Seal. So you see a lot of Victors do this, and one kind of problem with it, if you want to prioritize a lot of MR early, you actually lose a lot of item slots, because you want to get potions, you know, that takes up one, you want to get a ward, that takes up another. You've got a permanent item in your inventory which reduces your inventory space. It's not something that a lot of people think about, but actually can be fairly important, because now if he wants to go Null Magic Mantle or something along those lines, it's going to take up another space, and it's going to be very hard for you to build other components in there. But normally you do want to go for the full Hex Core finish first. Jizuki with a teleport is going to have the advantage as well. So Scarlet going down early, not good, but Jizuki triple starting items now. It was a worse matchup before, it's even worse now.
Just coming back to Dew in this bottom lane, he is the support for Giants, only the Brave, so Giants' second team, their Spanish roster. He's Portuguese, a well-known Thresh player, actually used to be an AD carry main until Season 6, and then switched over to the support role. So someone that Giants would have scrimmed against or practiced against, or at least know to some degree, with them being on the secondary roster. And I'm sure he and Mini Trupax have synergy. There's the flash play. Darkside there, but Gilius gets the knockback. Darkside's going to get locked up. That's a kill for Mini Trupax. Another hook onto Quickseth. He's going to be brought back as well. Mini Trupax, one more auto. Can't quite get it. Flash for it, man. Gets it. There's the lantern as well to get him out. Mini Trupax still unkilled in the bottom lane.
Oh, he risked it for a biscuit, and it paid off. Oh my goodness, Mini Trupax showing what you can do from the AD carry role. You're like, it's good that you're not an AD carry main right now, because I am popping off. And one thing about a Jhin getting ahead early against a Caitlyn, good luck dueling in a 1v1 scenario if your supports go for the roam, which is exactly what Dew is probably going to look to do with Gilius. I told you, Zani is going to be low in the jungle. Gilius takes advantage of that twice in a row. He's been more proactive than Zani can be on this Gragas. Oh, nice gravity field though.
Yeah. If you place it on yourself, it means that he can't phase dive into you, so you can't always get those 3 time-winded procs off. Mini Trupax actually gone for Boots of Swiftness first up here. Scarlet low on mana, gets jumped on by Jizuki once again. Still kill threat on that Echo, even without the aggressive summoner in terms of the Ignite. Double longsword for Mini Trupax, so it looks like he's going towards the Yumu's Ghost Blade build that we do see sometimes on Jhin. Could be a lot of different builds, in all honesty. Jhin has a variety of different paths he can explore.
Ghostblade wouldn't be such a bad option. Just
early game spike.
Getting the early game spike and the mobility actually provides to you. Who are you going to want to run away from if you're not just running into them? You're going to want away from Scarlet.
running towards
them. All right.
I know, but Dan, Zani, Scarlet, there are 3 carries there that you kind of want to be able to disengage from by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If Ju's not there with the lantern, it's an easy disengage for yourself. So I think that's a fair item for him, especially getting 2 kills. Double longsword isn't great. You get a serrated Dirk, and then you're just chewing through Darkside without too much of a worry. And now I worry for Scarlet in this mid. We've already said how aggressive Jizuki can be with lane priority, level 6 and teleport. He's going to look for Rones or Gilius, and you can already see the impact that's having. Zani's got the farm, yes. Problem is, Gilius, he's got the pressure.
That he has, and because his bot lane's pushing in, they can come up and help him out as well. It's exactly what we were saying. The ability to roam. Look at that 2-level disadvantage for Scarlet as well. I expect him to hit 6 off that wave, but still not in the best of shapes. Ruin getting pushed back in the top lane. Once again, the hope for OG comes from Dan on the cannon. Paolo Convergence comes down. Gilius will smite away the red. Zani has to use the Ragnarok to keep himself safe, and Giants 8,200 gold up, only 8 minutes into the game.
Going to make a play on the mid lane as well.
Scarlet has healed though.
He does. One thing about the Victor, when he hits level 7, can clear the backline in 1 hit with the upgraded laser. Problem is, hasn't got the upgraded laser yet. He needs to be able to go back now. He did actually go back previous to this, and he bought boots and a refillable. So again, maxing out those item slots is actually quite frustrating for him, because you're not going to sell boots. You're going to have to sell Dark Seal if you want another item. The only option for you right now is place the ward and, you know, go buy something else, or, you know, fully upgrade your hex score, which is what you're going to be able to do here. So if he does want to itemize into early magic resist, he has to give up an item slot. It's a very minute point, but I think it's quite important coming up against the Echo, especially when he's got a kill lead on you. That Banshee's Veil can be quite a lifesaver, put it that way.
Once again, we see a CS advantage for Giants in that bottom lane, about 15 or so ahead. Zani doesn't have ult here, is going to use the Ghost. Ruin comes in, there's the knock-up. Scarlet's like, oh no, I don't want any piece of that.
Oh, executed!
And the explosive cast coming in, just a bit of overkill. Jizuki gets onto Scarlet though, does have the Chrono Break, silence Chrono Break's back. Gilius with the flash, engage Scarlet with the heal, just about keeps himself alive. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Mini Trupax can open up the curtain call if he so desires. Looking for an encore after those 2 kills earlier on. Giants looking for an encore after their perfect game in Game 1. Mini Trupax will not use his ultimate for the time being.
Giants are like, give me these kills. They just want to be able to pressure Scarlet out, which is the exact right thing to do. Problem with Zani having Ghost, which is fantastic on an Olaf, doesn't have Flash to get away from those kind of situations. Gilius is 0-0-4, 100% core participation already. Again, just proving himself as such a top quality jungler in CS right now, and wanting to prove that he has LCS caliber once again. This is a big stage for him to prove that, and he's doing it just now. Again, his ability to control and actually know where Zani is throughout the different stages of the game has just been absolutely fantastic. And prioritizing lanes properly as well. Some junglers would go, okay, so Dan's pushing at top here. Kennen has got amazing amount of escapes, especially if we CC him. He's got Lightning Rush, fine, but we've got a Java knockup, Body Slam, whatever. Let's focus him because he's pushing. No, you focus lanes that will impact the mid game a lot more, because Ruin won't necessarily do that.
And speaking of lanes that will impact and things that will impact the mid game, Mini Trupax now has that Serrated Dirk and the Caulfield's Warhammer. He's going to be absolutely shredding through his opponents if he can land the CC chain with Ju. You of course Flay into Deadly Flourish, Hook into Deadly Flourish, into Box, into Curtain Call. It's a devastating combo when used correctly.
You're done is the phrase you're looking for. You're done. That is exactly what will happen if Darkside or Quickseth find themselves on the wrong side of a Hook or a Flay. He's got Swiftness Boots early as well, so it's going to dissuade a lot of the stuns. Actually, slows even coming out from OG. The slow time is reduced, but it also helps him in lane catch up to someone like Darkside, who has that 50 caliber net to disengage, which I think is quite handy for a Jhin. He wants to stay mobile. He's one of the least mobile AD carries in the game. Only has that short speed up when he is reloading.
And they will just look for the tower for the time being. Gilius is actually aggressively positioning in this red side jungle, but Origin, for the time being, have 3 people down towards that bottom lane. There's a Mountain Drake on the cards as well, but neither team deciding they want that just quite yet. I think it would be Giants for the taking. A slower game here between these two. Origin having the chance to scale up ever so slightly. Ruin is 25 CS down, and so is GIA actually falling behind Zani in that jungle role. However, AD carry miles ahead for Giants, and having a couple of extra kills here and there, definitely bolstering their gold numbers as they do look for the Mountain Drake. They'll be about 1,500 gold ahead, perhaps even rotate up towards mid and open up the curtains on Scarlet.
I don't think you mind being behind on CS, especially against Zolaf, who you know a camera flick. Whoa, hang on a second, Scarlet might die.
So Observer's been practicing his AWPing skills.
Yeah, flick shotting. But yeah, you don't mind as Gilius right now being behind on CS. You've got your Runic Echoes, that's good. You've got a wave clear there, and you've been more than enough impact. Do you actually might look for a little play onto Quickseth here? Does use that Grand Entrance and a Battle Dance, extremely mobile in lane. Not going to be able to pin that Quickseth.
Mid lane's where the action is. Gilius coming behind the tower, but so is Zani. He's on his way. Gilius, who just jumped towards Zani, hasn't actually shown himself yet. Jizuki might get spotted. Might get caught out. Looks like Gilius is going to go down towards bottom side instead. Zani's still up towards the top side of that. Dark side is on his way. Quickseth is on his way up as well, and it's going to be a three-man dive down towards the bottom lane. Jizuki jumped on by Zani. Will get the parallel convergence. Chrono breaks back, but now he's in the midst. Has to flash charmed up. Quickness comes down. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Dark side is getting harassed out by Giants. They will get a kill, and no perfect game for Giants today, but they do trade 1 for 1.
Superb timing from Gilius, popping that ult after 2 forms of CC hit him, but you can't follow up that too much, and there's no way you can escape, especially against a Rakan that's running towards you. You've got Scarlet there as well with that Chaos Storm blipping down. They need to be able to get this first tier turret in order for Jizuki to be hampered a little bit in this lane. They look like they're going to be able to get it, but Mini Trupac's not enabled to actually finish off that tier 1 turret in the bottom line. Will actually mean OG find their first turret blood of Challenger Series.
Yeah, and Giants lose their first tower, their first tower of the entire CS split. They will equal it out and push that gold back to about 1,000 in their favor. They have got a big Jhin. They have got an Echo who's in a relatively good position. Gold even across the board, apart from top and AD carry. Look at that, 1,000 gold ahead for Dan in that top lane, and 2,000 gold ahead for Mini Trupax in that AD carry role. Now is when they need to use him, take these towers, open up those curtains, and look to push OG back from defending their turrets. 14
minutes into the game when your AD carry is 2,000 gold ahead of his enemy laner. Picks up the Ghost Blade, picks up the BF sword, with Darkseid working towards that Infinity Edge first item, using the steroid from the boots in order to facilitate his attack speed. But this Jin's going to run rampant now. Jizuki did lose his mid tier 1, yes, but his ability to roam has been all too apparent. Scarlet is going to be able to collapse on here, but Jizuki's damage.
That's a lot of damage. Scarlet puts down the gravity field as well to try and get himself away. And will actually escape because Zani was on his way.
Man.
But that is just a taste of what is to come from Jizuki. Imagine if he had a Sheen on top of that. That would have been a burst to end all bursts. Ruins actually come down towards the bottom lane to try and defend against Darkseid and Quickseth, and Mini Trupax and Ju pushed up towards the top side looking for the tower.
Very quick rotation coming out of Giants here. OG are going to be able to solidify that with at least a turret on their own.
Also, yeah.
Bam, they take 1. That makes 2 for them. Gilius has actually found Dan in the jungle. Whoa!
Deadly flourish. Here comes the Curticle. The knockback.
Gilius! What are you doing?
It's alright, Jizuki's on his way.
Jizuki's there, that's fine.
Gilius was like,
what are you doing?
Excuse me, Mini, you have enough kills? I would like to give one over to Jizuki in the mid lane. Good play by Origin, though, to answer. This is something we talk about time and time again. When you're behind, you need to be able to trade objectives, and that's what Origin did. Yes, they've lost an extra man here, and they should lose the Rift Herald as well if Giants, decide to go for it. But they do get the tower in the bottom lane, and they keep that gold in grasp. Not close, but in grasping range.
So in game number 1 at 15 minutes, Giants were 4.5k in the lead. And now, Giants are only 2k. So you could say
halving every time.
Exactly. You could say they're playing it a little better. But now the problem is Giants have control of this top lane, as they have
four members of
top lane pressure. They're actually going to back off, though. They do see Quickseth and Scarlet. So very proactive play from them. I like Zani's pathing, actually. Just making sure you path towards the top side, because you know after that tier 1 turret is down, the wave's actually going to crash it into your wave. You don't want that hitting your second tier turret and gaining a lot of vision, because it means obviously granting a lane vision is extremely imperative to know where the rest of the OG squad are. And now actually just letting that Rift Herald reset is actually going to be a big heads-up play for OG there. They did have Dan's teleport as well, but the problem is, again, the vision is just way too much, and Giants get control of the mid, and they're just going to take the turret. So
Giants actually reset that a lot quicker, and they will catch up quick step as well. That's a dead Rakan. That's a lovely Sunday roast for Giants as they take down the poultry in the mid lane. They're looking for a second tower here as well. Should be able to get this one as all of Giants are here. Dan's on his way up, but once again, he is slower than Ruin to react. Giants will get their 4th tower of the game. The hook onto Zani, deadly flourish. He's not tanky whatsoever. A barrel to the face spells his demise. And OG are starting to fall to the wayside.
3 people of Giants jumping in a way that isn't the hole. But yeah, I mean, there goes the turret taking potential. When you have someone like an Echo who's got that proto belt, the mobility from him is just absolutely insane. Anybody from OG steps up, he goes all in, then just zips back with his ult. He's got Dew there as well with a Thresh to kind of back him up. And the thing is, Mini still had his curtain call available to him, so if they really need to take that turret, he stands a couple of feet back, pops the ult, and then 3 hits, really. The best thing about Victor, and one of his core elements to his kit, is the fact that he can clear waves extremely well, and his ability to stick on targets with a Rylai's is insane. But the issue is, when he's this far behind, and he's only just completed his Hex Core, turning it into a perfect one now, and only just picking up the Sheen, he has no threat potential whatsoever. They're at a point in the game now where they are trading objectives, like you were mentioning, very well, but the siege is always going to be there. They're always going to have, Jizuki's always going to have priority over the mid. The Dragon's free for the taking, and it does look like now Rift Towers are free for the taking as well.
Yeah, Rift Herald for Giants will be their next objective. They are 4,000 gold ahead, and look at the itemization differences between these two teams. The clearest comparison comes in the AD carry role, an entire item ahead for Mini Trupax. Both have IEs. Mini Trupax has a Yumu's Ghostblade to add to the mix. Zani's going to get jumped on. Deadly Flourish comes out just for the damage. Jizuki there, the curtains open and rain down hell upon Zani. Mini Trupax on a rampage, 4-0 on this Jhin. And at the moment, it just looks like Origin do not have an answer.
Zani worth about 187 gold at this current point. 0-3 with 1 assist. It's not looking good whatsoever. Do they have an answer? At least they picked up a kill. At least they picked up a couple of turrets as well. At least they've learned how to kind of trade objectives in that regard. And they've done exactly the same thing they did in game number 1. Ignore Dan's split push. There's no way he can push against Ruin because Ruin's got the Tiamat. I'm sure he's very kind of used to this as a Jarvan, you know, being pressured out lane by someone like a Kennen. And with only the Blade of the Ruin King, is there any kill potential there? No, there's not. He's got the escapes he needs. Kennen's only got a Lightning Rush, has to probably commit a flash to even try and get a bit of damage down onto him. And then meanwhile, you have Gilius with perfect vision control over the red side. So Ruin more than safe. Alongside that, like at this point, because all of that first tier of towers is down for Origin, Dan has to overextend. And they have no deep vision. I can't see a single ward past the river. I can't even see a single ward in the river for Origin. Whereas Giants have vision that they're pushing up continuously. They've got 2 sweepers, so they can sweep it out. I assume Gilius has a 3rd, but he's sitting on that Eye of the Herald at the moment, so they can use that. They're going to get a Cloud Drake. Not the biggest advantage in the world, but still. OG just have no way of reacting to this, because they don't know how many people are going to be there. I think you just don't anyway, regardless. Oh, good job, Dew. Good job, man. Taking that last hit. But yeah, I don't think they do that regardless. We do have a Mountain Drake coming up next, so that is definitely something they're going to want to try and jump on. Rift Herald has been summoned. It's down in the bottom lane here, so Jizuki's going to just face straight into Darkside. He might just go all in here. Darkside going to get absolutely melted. Scarlet was there as well, uses the Chaos Storm. Darkside had to use his heal. Actually, this isn't the best use of Rift Herald, in my opinion. Dan is going to get caught up towards the top side, though, so maybe they're going to try and make a counter play. Oh. Dan goes aggressive. You don't want to do that, my man. Here's Dew. Tries to knock him back, pops the slicing mouse. Dan did not realize that the rest of Giants were waiting just around the corner. Does get himself away with the flash, with the blade, dodges the Deadly Flourish. Can he dodge the shots? 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4, none connect onto Dan. Gilius on his way, though, has no flash. Dan, you tried and you tried, but you just could not get away from the Giants. Dan, bye-bye. He ends up going back to base, and 35 seconds on the clock, and hey, guess what? Baron just spawned, and you've got the damage to do it. You've got a 4-0-3 Jhin, you have a 3-1-2 Echo, you've even got a J4. You'd start the Baron right now. There's a ward. What? They don't care about award. Oh,
Apparently
okay. Apparently they do. Well, you probably could have done it anyway. I mean, Zani isn't anywhere near tanky enough. Hasn't even finished Cinderhulk, by the way. Has only just gone.
That's very aggressive from Jizuki. Does get the boot off the backside. The charm comes in. The quickness from Quickstep, but he's going to get melted by Jizuki. The flash hook doesn't quite hit onto Zani. And once again, Giants 11-1 up. You said at 15 minutes the gold lead was only 2,000. Well, at 21 minutes, it is 5,000 for Giants, and they can set up towards the Baron once again if they want. They don't even need to. Zani's trying to run away. Here comes Jizuki. Time Winder connects, as does the Z-Drive Resonance. Jizuki showing us why his Echo is to be feared.
Z-Drive Resonance. What a fun thing to say. Do you know what is a fun thing to say? Free Baron for Giants. 1-12, that's going to be the end of the game for OG. Realistically, there is no way I think you come back from this one. Unless a miracle happens, but Dan again, he got caught out topside and not being on a tanky split pusher either, which you can argue the Jax is just because of the Grandmaster's might. He's just not, there's no way for him to actually come back into this game. Ruin is 1-0-2, and you've got to look to the next game, I think. Well, not even the next game, sorry, the next game that OG and Giants have to play. I think OG right now have conquered CSQ when you're coming up and facing people that have a lot more experience with dealing with things like this incredible split push. You've got to lead to wonder if that's going to be the strategy you hold on to when you're coming into CS.
I think that's an interesting thing with Giants as well, because they have been a standout performer. They've kind of been the wind and rain of Challenger Series. And you look at a lot of their members, I mean, Ruin's been around for a while, obviously playing for a long time in Challenger Series, but never really shone as a top laner. It's always kind of been on teams that didn't really show up too well. Gilius as well, around for a long time. But then you look at Jizuki, Mini, and Ju, and Jack Troll or Ju. A lot of them haven't actually been around in CS that much. They've been around national leagues, strong players, but not at the sort of secondary level in Europe. And I'm really enjoying and appreciating how well they're playing as a team and as a lineup at the moment, because strategically they look clean, mechanically they look relatively good as well, enough to at least challenge the best mechanical teams in the Challenger Series. And now they're going to get Inhibitor Tower in mid. They are 9,000 gold ahead. They'll get a turret in towards the bot lane as well. And Origin just have no way of answering this, as most teams have had no way of answering this.
I think that's a really interesting topic to kind of touch on. You look at the rosters for other teams, PSG, for example, and you look at RB. They have very, very strong, competent laners that not only can win their lane, but their macro players also on point. And you look at Giants, you go, okay, so there's a lot of strong names there, but no names that would pop out to you and go,
there's no Kassim, wow, there's no Muujin, there's no Tal.
Yeah.
Like, none of these guys who have this pulling power in terms of just pure LCS skill. Like, you've got people who play in the LCK playing for PSG, and Giants are showing them up.
Engage, flash.
Engage. Here comes the quickness, though. It's going to land onto a bunch. Grand entrance used as well. Zani there. Jizuki's going to get taken out. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Actually, 2-for-2 now, as the teams even it out. It's all on Mini. Still has flash, still has heal. Rooted up by Dan, but look at the damage coming back in response. Gilius there. Knock up. Hook on towards the AD carry. That's a dead dark side. Giants pushing in with the Baron buff, looking for the inhib in mid, but they can just go instead for the Nexus in the mid lane.
Looking for the inhib, looking for the win. Here we go. Giants continuing their perfect streak. There's nothing that can stop them right now.
Undefeated and unstoppable. It looks like they can't miss a skill shot at the moment. Mini, Trupac's legendary. He's unkillable. He is the unkillable Demon King of the European Challenger Series. The Deadly Flourish is a death knell once again. Giants will be looking to take down this Nexus. They will go 3-0 in the Challenger Series, and they will secure their spot in the playoffs. Great play by them. Shame, of course, for Origin, but Giants, it is them who take the win today.
The shining stars that are the Origin lineup right now, even proving that you can use a sub in the bottom lane.
Giants, the Giants lineup.
Yeah, the
Not the Origin lineup.
Sorry, Giants.